Right, in the last episode, which I filmed 1 second ago, we just did this interview analysis with Cyril. We went through his tell me about yourself, and now we're going to go through his question, why should we hire you? If you do want to like get interview analysis feedback, that probably makes sense. Then you can join my free community. The link will be in the description, and you can go and become one of the 90 membership requests pending, which I haven't got around to approving, but I'll go and approve it after I film this video. Okay, so feel free to criticize his videos in the comments. Anything I should add or remove? Is it too long? Are there redundant words I should avoid? Do you want more of this analysis? Okay, let's do it, man. Why should we hire you, Amazon?
The apprenticeship. Why should we hire you? Well, this is an interesting one. I believe there are three main reasons why I should be hired by your company. First reason is that I understand that you require candidates that have that long-term ambition within the company. And the apprenticeship is a perfect way for candidates to transition seamlessly into a more lucrative role within the company. And how this relates to me is I want to pursue a long-term career within your company. And more specifically, I want to pursue a machine learning engineering career. Now, I understand that that is a lucrative but prominent role within the tech industry. And it requires a lot of technical expertise. And the data analytics apprenticeship is a perfect way for me to hone these data skills so that I can transition into that role. But that stems from this long-term ambition to focus on long-term value. And I'm willing to take ownership, for instance, within my projects, which I've highlighted, learning the necessary skills for this apprenticeship regarding data cleaning with SQL and Python pandas, or data transformation, data visualization using Excel, and finally data analysis, understanding the data analytics lifecycle. And the data analytics lifecycle so that I can utilize it within the apprenticeship. And I don't see this apprenticeship merely as just a way for me to gain money. No, no, no. What I see the long term, no, what I see in the long term is the value it provides, allowing me to strive towards a more lucrative career, which is a career I want to pursue. And the second reason I want to apply to Amazon is I am a natural. No, the second reason why you should hire me is I'm a natural problem solver, and I love to solve enterprise and customer related problems. And as far as I'm aware from my research, Amazon is a customer centric company where they are customer obsessed. And they focused on solving customer related problems. And it requires candidates such as apprentices or certain stakeholders, with internal stakeholders within the company, to solve and cater towards the customer problems. For instance, with Amazon's machine learning recommendation system, this allows a more personalized feed so that the product or service, which is Amazon's e-commerce platform, allows products to cater towards customers on a more personalized level. And that's the second reason why. The third reason why you should hire me is I'm willing to learn and grow alongside this apprenticeship. I don't see this apprenticeship merely as just a way to gain not just the skills, but also experience and that practical aspect. Leveraging my technical skills so that I can grow as an individual, so that I can hone on my technical skills, so I can improve on certain flaws, ranging from my lack of communication or my lack of practicality. Being in this apprenticeship allows me to refine on those flaws, and it allows me to step higher and higher, one step closer towards my long-term objective, which is striving towards a prominent role within the tech industry. And I want to apply that learning and that mindset of learning and constantly being ravenous to absorb and assimilate new information. Where in my project, for instance, I highlighted how I've utilized not only the programming languages, and I've studied this in my own free time, but also found a way to have a bias for action and actually put that to the test by emphasizing a a data analytics project regarding Amazon's customer data, which essentially has all the documentations of how I solved certain problems, what I did to fix this certain issue, how I utilized a skill or piece of knowledge that I've studied in my own free time, and then applied that in a practical sense. So I believe that is the third reason. Now, to conclude, in conclusion, all of these three reasons all come neatly together to emphasize how I want to strive towards a long-term career. I want to be ravenous to assimilate new information and to constantly improve on my flaws and to be customer centric and solve customer related problems, utilizing my programming skills and my problem solving abilities by testing that in websites like such as LeetCode and putting that to the test by creating projects and applying that in your corporate environment. So I believe those three reasons are why I believe you should hire me.
Okay, interesting one. So this question's not very common. Why should we hire you? I will go into, just for clarity purposes, what I would say if they ask you why should we hire you. But usually that's like they don't really ask 18-year-olds that. I mean, they could, but I haven't experienced it. Usually the question they're going to ask you is, why would you be a good fit for this role? Which is kind of similar, but the way you'd phrase it would be differently. Cyril, you answered this like it was a why would you be a good fit for this role question. Okay, you didn't answer it like a why should we hire you question. You answered it like a why would you be a good fit for this role. So I'm going to give you feedback as if it was a why would you be a good fit for this role question. And then, like I said, at the end, I'll go through what I would actually say if I was answering the question, why should we hire you? So, number one, way too long. Way too long. 5 minutes 28. There's no way you're going to get this. Well, again, nobody sue me, right? But you're not going to get through the whole thing. 5 minutes, they're going to interrupt you, right? That was way too long. Sounds like you had 3 points. You spent 2 minutes, like 120 seconds basically, to say this. So one reason why I think would be a good fit for this role is because I'm someone who's very ambitious, and this is a field that I'm really interested in. In fact, my long-term ambition is to stay within the technology industry, and in particular, grow to a position where I could work on machine learning engineering. This is something I've had a brief experience with in the past when I did a course, a 4-hour course by the University of Boston on machine learning, and this really sort of sparked my interest. That's something I'd love to come into Amazon and go and use and be able to contribute to the company. Something like that, right? Not saying exactly what you said, but you took 2 minutes to say it, right? Now, also, that question when you talk about long-term ambitious, you kept saying like a lucrative role, like I want to have a lucrative role, right? Just don't say that, because it's like, okay, we all sort of intrinsically know this. If they ask the question, why do you want a degree apprenticeship? The first thing you're not going to say is, oh yeah, because I just want the money. Now, does everyone kind of realize that the money's like a big part, and it's like no one's ignoring that, right? Because like we're all sensible enough to understand like the money's part of it, okay? So we don't have to like pretend that money's not involved, right? But it's like, would money be the first thing I'm saying? Because to be honest, like just reading that, it was like, oh, sounds like you went and watched a TikTok video and you saw like top 10 most lucrative, highest income careers in 2026. Number one was like being a, what's the one it always says on like TikToks? It's information manager. Trust me, you don't want to be an information manager. And then like number two was like, oh, I want to be a machine learning engineer, or you whatever you said. And then you come into this interview and, oh yeah, I really want to get into this lucrative role. Don't say that. Just say, I want to get into this role, get more experience, like have more responsibilities, contribute to the organization. Do like just don't say lucrative. Just stay away from that. If you, yeah, I just stay away from it. Honestly, you just don't need to talk about it. It just felt like you just wanted this job for the money. You then said you were a natural problem solver. That was your next point. Can't remember if you gave an example. I can't remember. If you did, great. If not, give an example. Okay. And then you also, yeah, like this. Honestly, the way you answered this question was, the first one was about your long-term ambitions. That was also that was answering the question, why do you want this role, right? Because it's your long-term ambition. The next one was like, why would you be a good fit for this role? Because you said like problem solving, and then you went back to, why do you want this role? Because I want to get skills and experience. So Cyril, just based on these two videos you've sent me, basically both of them you didn't answer the question. So that's something I would really focus on. In the past, I've like shared a list of general questions. Let me see if I can find it now for you. Wait, what? List of questions. List of interview questions. These are like a list of questions you might want to go prepare. Maybe you've bullet pointed these, maybe you've planned out your answers to these. Just make sure they're actually answering the question. Because just based on like the 2 interviews I've seen of you, you didn't answer the question either time. So just double check that. I'd say that's the biggest thing for you. Make sure you're answering the question. When you said ravenous, that seemed like a bit of an extreme word. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just kind of found that funny. I probably wouldn't have used that word. I get what you're saying. You're trying to show you're eager to learn all this sort of stuff, but that word's probably a bit much. Final thing before I get into like what my points would actually be if they ask you the question, why should we hire you? You mentioned in there, I noticed bias for action ownership. Bias for action ownership, if anyone doesn't know, is like the leadership principles of Amazon. Sort of like you can think of it as the values that Amazon really desire. Bias for action, ownership, customer obsession, think big, things like that. You just mentioned them briefly. Okay, you just sort of said I have a bias for action, which means I can do this. I want to take ownership and do this. And I'm guessing you put those specific words in there because they're Amazon leadership principles. The problem is you're kind of overestimating the attention to detail of the recruiters. If you just slot in a phrase like, and another thing I have is a bias for action, and this is where I do things really quickly and make decisions, they're probably not going to clock that bias for action is one of their leadership principles, which is why you might want to, whenever you mention leadership principle, like spell it out for them. So be like, another strength I have is actually bias for action, which by the way is one of Amazon's leadership principles. You've sort of bookmarked the whole thing, okay? Similarly, I enjoy taking ownership, which I know is one of Amazon's leadership principles. I know Amazon cares about ownership because it is one of the Amazon leadership principles, rather than just saying like, oh, I have ownership, I like doing ownership, I know Amazon cares about ownership. Specifically say like, which is one of the leadership principles or the leadership principle of ownership. Just sort of bookmark it with that. It's like even when like with other companies, when there's values, don't just say, oh yeah, integrity is really important. Say, your value, which I know is integrity, is very important. Like your company value is integrity. Don't just say integrity, okay? Because otherwise they might miss it. So now I'm just going to go through like what you would say, because again, the sort of question answers all over the place. If the question was why would you be a good fit for this role, what you do is you go to 3 or 4 skills. Okay, maybe it's problem solving, right? Give an example and how that's going to help you at the company. Okay, so I'm a natural problem solver. Here's an example of when I did problem solving. I'm going to use these problem solving skills to come up with solutions which are going to enable us to stay on the cutting edge of technology here at Amazon. Okay, then you go to strength 2, which is like communication. Here's an example, and here's that's going to help because it's going to allow me to communicate seamlessly with other teams and other disciplines and also customers as well, which is going to allow us to deliver the best customer service. And I know that customer obsession is one of the values of Amazon's leadership, one of Amazon's leadership principles. Okay, then just do another one, then another one. So why would you be a good fit for this role? You just do 3 or 4 strengths, and you do that exact structure like I've just said. Skip back 30 seconds if you need me to recap that. Now, the questions, why do you want this role, or why do you want to apply for this role? That's where you can throw in stuff like, oh, I have a long-term ambition to work in this industry. Okay, that's where you can throw in some reasons. So like this previous question we went through in the last episode, that's where you can throw some of these things in. So that's probably the biggest exercise for you, is go for these general questions and just make sure your reasons, you've got them on point. Now, coming to this question, why should we hire you? Again, this isn't a question I've actually heard asked ever before, because they just phrase it differently. They say, why would you be a good fit for this role, which is slightly different? Why do you want this role, which is slightly different? Why should we hire you? If they ask me this question, then okay, you should hire me because, then list like 3 or 4 reasons: because of my problem solving skills, because of my experience, because I got a willingness to learn, because I have a long term ambition to stay in this industry. Fine, you can say all that stuff. The key part of this is you have to link to how that's going to help the company, because this is no longer why do you want the role, this is no longer why are you a good fit for this role or anything like that. This is why should we hire you, and this is where you have to justify it to them. It's not about your reasons. They couldn't care less about your reasons, right? Well, I mean, they could a bit, but my point is, if they ask a question like this, why should we hire you? You have to convince them. And so the way you would do that is, well, the first reason you should hire me, I believe, is my natural problem solving skills, which I've developed through giving an example here. And these problem solving skills are going to allow me to work really well at this company. Okay, I'm going to be able to contribute. I know you recently released a new Amazon Alexa, and this has some new powerful thing that's really cool. And I'd be working on problems, working on solutions like that. Just a bit similar to why would you be a good fit for this role, but you're really, 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 really focusing on how you're going to help the company. Like if they were to word you a question like this, your main focus should be on just talking about how you're going to help the company. Okay, my communication is going to help the company. My experience is going to help the company. It means I'm going to be able to get on projects sooner because I have a stronger sort of base of where I'm at. Okay, so that's how you'd answer it. Let's just go through some comments. Enthusiasm.
how this relates to me is I want to pursue a.
Yeah, again, it felt a bit forced. How this relates to me is because, like, I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's the energy it was giving off. I feel like towards the end it seemed more natural. Let me just have a quick check.
No, by emphasizing a data analytics project regarding Amazon's customer data, which essentially has all the documentation.
I mean, it's a bit better. It's still maybe a bit too like forced, but it was a lot more natural, sort of authentic. Yes, so I'm really interested in this role, as opposed to yes, I'm really interested in this role. Okay. Perhaps too long. Yeah, it's too long. Basically, your answers, you like this kind of answer, you want to be 3 minutes, 4 points, 45 seconds per point, something like that. Okay, 5:30 is way too long. You can get interrupted. Yeah, I think Ilya noticed that as well. Especially in like the start, you were trying too hard, and maybe it got a bit better towards the end. Way too long, 3 minutes. Yeah, just don't mention money at all. It's like, yeah, you can mention you like you could okay, you can say, "Oh, I know it's money, but I don't really care about the money." It's like, yeah, but now you've just brought it to like why have you even said that? Because like if you didn't care about the money, you wouldn't even have mentioned it. So it's sus. It's suspect, right? So just don't say anything about money unless you have to, unless they're like, I don't think I've ever been asked a question about money in my degree apprenticeship. Actually, now that I say that, so just don't bring it up unless you like, unless there's a pistol to your head or something. Yep. Ilya's spot on, man. Started answering the one question you did. You answered why do you want to apply to, um, whatever it was, Amazon or something. Maybe not the second reason. I can't remember which one it was. Well, I said it earlier in the video. Basically, you answered a whole bunch of different questions. That's a good spot as well. Don't say they are customer obsessed. Like you want to show how you align with those values. Not just like Amazon has these leadership principles, but like you align with these leadership principles. Oh, okay. Did I miss that? Oh, I think you remember something about my lack of communication, lack of practicality, but that's something I'm looking to work on. It's like, yeah, that's helpful, but also just don't say that. Especially lack of practicality. Like, yeah, and no, just don't say that. Honestly, just don't say that. If they ask you a question, what's your weakness, and then you say a thing, but you're working on it, and it's something I'm getting better. Okay, fair enough, say it then. But like, don't just pull this out of the bag, okay? For no reason. Just self-reporting. Yeah. Conclusion. Just keep it simple. So, for those are the reasons why I believe you should hire me, and I'd be a great addition to your team. Perfect. Okay, yeah, the way you remove filler words is just be okay with silence. I used to and all the time, but now, do you see what I did? No, see what I did there? No, I was genuinely trying to think about the next word to say, and I was struggling with it for a second, so I just paused, and then I thought, okay, I'll just do the pause for dramatic effect. But essentially, when you're trying to work out your next wording, just remember it's okay to be silent. Like a filler word is just your brain sort of being a bit like your brain's tweaking. Your brain's going crazy because we need to say something. We need to say something that's awkward silence. I don't know what to do. I'm socially like all this whole stuff. Just chill out, man. Just like be okay with silence. Sometimes you're gonna try and say something and the phrase isn't quite there. The word isn't there. That's all right. Just give it a couple of seconds. Work out what you need to say. I do it all the time in my videos. Yeah, nice one. Nice for being brave. Cyril, thanks for coming up. Yep, too enthusiastic. Okay. Yeah, you might have been. I don't specifically remember this, but you might have been saying something like, "Oh, it's also important for candidates to have a long-term ambition." Right? So you're sort of talking about like the third person, like an ideal candidate. No, just talk about you. So I have, what did I say? So it might be, I have a long term ambition, which is going to help me be successful in this role because I'm going to stay within the industry or something. Yeah, just keep it personal on yourself. 5 minutes is way too long. Yeah, perfect. Right, we'll leave it there. Hope that helps, Cyril. Let me rate these. Oh, mate, you've set yourself up for that's a disaster. You've actually given these categories. Clothing, I don't care about. I definitely wouldn't say love it. Yeah, bro. You know what? I'm feeling like I'm going on smoke today. I'll put terrible. Like I genuinely feel bad now. Forget it. I'm removing my vote. I feel bad. The reason I say that is because essentially you just didn't answer the question. So it's like, I mean, you answered the question a bit, but you could have answered the question more and not include loads of random stuff. So there's, yeah, let's put okay. Let's put okay. Okay. But it's like it sounds like you've done the research because all the stuff you were saying is good. Just now go and apply it to the correct question rather than the wrong question, and cut down your answers and just dial down the end. Like you're on the good side of energy, by the way. Like I know we're saying like yeah, you're a bit too much. It's a bit mental. But that's a better place to be because all you need to do now is just dial it down a bit, be a bit more authentic. The people who have really low energy, it's a challenge. It's a struggle for them to get a bit of energy because it feels a bit cringe. It feels a bit unnatural. You're one. Just go more natural. Just chill it out a tiny bit. So there we go. Hope that helps. See you guys in a bit. Take care. Any questions about anything? Comments below as usual. Join this community. Bye.